Welcome to episode 70 of New Game Experience. My name is Juan Paulini, and today I'm sitting here with John. Although, I mean,
I'm not the only. I'm not the one and only.
Yeah, no, you're not the one and only, but I didn't mean to say that just because it's you that it's a lesser episode or anything like that. I'm not
Yeah.
implying that. I mean,
It's fine. It's fine. I don't take it personal. It's okay.
don't take it personally. Yeah, no, you're a big part of this, John. And when you're not here, we miss you very, very much.
Yeah, I was missing for a long time, but I'm back.
Yes, you are. With your Coke, is that a Coke Zero?
Of course, I don't drink Coke Light because that's for women. I drink Coke Zero, the main one.
Same product,
The same shit, different branding.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
Okay,
Okay,
it works.
so, but yeah, absolutely. So even though we love Coke, I'm a big Coke fan because I'm addicted to that sugar. We're here to talk about video games, and today we have a topic that I wanted to talk about because we're going to be talking about Platinum Games. To anybody who doesn't know, this is a Japanese developer that has worked with Nintendo. They've worked with Activision as well. They've worked with, I mean, they're kind of like it's one of those mercenary studios, quote unquote. They've worked with Square Enix a lot as well. And, their trajectory is interesting to me because not only have I been a fan of many of their games, recently they've been on this weird press. I'm not going to say tour because that's not what it is, but they've been kind of vocal, kind of saying that they need help. They've been signaling for help. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
And well, we'll get into it, but I think that it's kind of sad because to me, as I said before, they kind of hold a special place in my heart. They've done games. I mean, they just to give everybody like a quick history of them. I believe they were founded by people who left Capcom. The most notable were Hideki Kamiya and Shinji Mikami, and which they were big names in things like the Resident Evil franchise and stuff like that. And so for Capcom to have lost them, I'm sure was a big blow. Even though Capcom is doing really, really well now, but. So they left. They formed Platinum Games, and I believe their first game, if I'm not mistaken, I have them right here. I think it was Mad World. Let me see if I'm correct. Yeah, it's Mad World. So this was a game made for the Wii. Even though everybody who is a fan of this show knows I hate the Wii, that was a really awesome game because it was like a very violent black and white with a little bit of color here and there. I think it had color, but it was a very violent like a platformer / brawler kind of game, and it was pretty cool. After that, they did things like Bayonetta, which I loved that game, which was then revived by Nintendo, and they did the second one, and they're now doing the third one, which is kind of in development hell, which kind of speaks to the whole reason I wanted to talk about this. They also did Vanquish, which was an awesome, like, if you were to grab Gears of War, infuse cocaine into it, and add some Japanese flair to it, that's what Vanquish would come out of. Also, I'm reading here Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which is a very underrated game. I love that game. Bayonetta 2, of course, like I said before. Wonderful 101, which I never played that game, but it has its fans. And the list is big. I mean, there's like in the list that I sent you, there's like almost 20 games, something like that. So. Yeah, so let's start with. I mean, I've already spoken enough. Although I'll continue to say more things. But yeah, like, what do you think about Platinum Games? Like, when you think about them, what comes to your mind when you think about them?
Stylish combat, mostly.
That's a good
gameplay and stylish combat. I think those are the main things. I think when you bring up Platinum Games, and I think most people do, they're pretty known. Well, I mean, they have this big game. I think. I mean, I did play Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. No, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I think what's the name. I did play it. I didn't knew about Platinum Games because back in that time I was not that. Oh, who made this game? No, I was younger and didn't care. But I really enjoyed that game. It
By the way,
was
the name you said before was the actual original name when it was being developed by Kojima.
the
So
Metal
that's
Gear
good.
Solid Revengeance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So this is like the Raiden spin-off, not kind of
Hmm.
like Raiden story, which is I don't think it's canon in any way. I honestly I don't think it will be canon. It
I
doesn't
think
make
it
any
is.
sense.
It's
Really?
probably kind of, yeah.
But
I,
you
I,
end
I,
like fighting with the president of the United States, who is like a super, all with steroids, like super buff guy. Like it is insane. The game is full insanity. It's amazing. I actually think I played not that long ago. When I was playing the PS Now package, like 2 years ago, I think I tried, and I, of course, I returned my money, but they have it there, and was one of the games that I played. It was pretty fun. And of course, Nier Automata is another big one of them that, I mean, what can you say about Nier Automata? I think everything that you can say about the game is already been said. It's a masterpiece of a game.
yes.
And even on the Switch, which is a console that we hate, I played Astral Chain on that console,
Awesome game.
which, yes, actually, I sold my Switch because I didn't saw the purpose of having the Switch with me anymore.
And you
And
haven't
out of,
regretted it?
sorry?
And you have not regretted
No,
it?
I haven't regretted it at all. I didn't even remember that, but I did kept three games, and one was Zelda, Breath of the Wild, because I know that games, even though I don't love it, it's it's gonna be a game that's gonna be referenced in the future. And I kept Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I kept Astral Chain. Those were the three games that I kept from the Nintendo Switch, and fantastic game. Like I really enjoy. Of course, it's not like a deep story. It's more like Metal Gear Revengeance. It's just insanity with a really anime, normal, plain, McDonald's type of story. You know, action. Well, yeah, look, it's the end of the world, whatever. But yeah, it's just they are masters of gameplay. That's how I see Platinum Games, and I think a lot of people does. But yeah, as you say, sadly they have. It's like they have really high peaks, but then they come with really, 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 really low lows. And I think now we're back at the time that they're hitting rock bottom, kind of.
I think rock bottom is right because this is the lowest I've seen them.
Yeah,
Which,
especially with the last game they released, which was released 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think.
yeah, something like that.
The Babylon's Fall, which I tried. I did play the demo. I've completely played the demo in like a night, like 5-6 hours of the game. And well, I have some commentary about that game, but I will keep you so you can explain to us why they're on their bottom right now.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit through their chronology and kind of, I'll try to. I mean, of course, we spent the whole last episode talking about how much numerical reviews don't matter and everything, but like I'll just give my general appreciation of these games and let's say like what the general consensus is, because it's one thing to apply a number, which that's where I don't agree, but consensus is something that you can. That is relevant, I think.
Hmm.
So we started with Mad World, which I think was a great game. I believe it got good reviews. I mean, I'm not going to go into every single one of them because that could be kind of
Yeah, and it will take forever.
exhausting. Yeah. Then they did this thing called Infinite Space for Nintendo DS. I don't really know about that one. But then Bayonetta, which was great game. Vanquish, also a great game. Then Anarchy Reigns. I believe Anarchy Reigns is like a fighting game. Let me just check really quick. Um, yeah, open world beat 'em up. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
no, it's not a fighting game.
That's good.
But I think it has characters from. I mean, I'm seeing here the cover. It has the main character from Mad World in it, which is a guy with like a chainsaw on his hand. So it kind of harkens back to that, and it's like a typically Japanese with like people with very non-proportionate bodies and things like that. Then we have Metal Gear Rising, which I believe. I mean, I love that game. I don't really know how much it scored with people, but generally with people I've spoken, like including yourself and other people who are friends of ours, I mean, this game is pretty beloved. I
Yeah.
don't really think.
Well, it comes with a name too.
Yeah,
It's a massive name, like that. The Metal Gear series, it's quite big on its own. So, but yeah, the fact that people who love Metal Gear, which as we talk about the toxic fandoms, they can get really intense and really defensive about a game. The fact that I don't, or at least not that I I mean, there's probably people who hate it, but I have never read or seen anybody just spitting on that game or like saying it's trash or it's bullshit. Like nobody, and that's quite rare for a spin-off of a main series such as Metal Gear, which is serious. Let's say
Yeah,
it's always a military conflict and super serious, even though it's full of really weird Kojima things. But yeah, this is a complete like this is like solid snakes on steroids with cocaine. Exactly.
absolutely. And also something that's pretty notable is that I remember it's good that we're doing this way because I'm kind of like getting flashbacks of things that I've read over the years. The fact that Kojima failed at developing this game, because I believe that he was kind of developing Metal Gear Solid 5, which is massive, as we already know, because we've already seen it.
It's so big that it's not even complete.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. So he was handling that and this at the same time. And I remember that this game was in development hell for a couple of years. They showed a first demo where Raiden was kind of like splitting a watermelon. And everybody got really impressed by that because like the physics and the way that, like that was pretty cool at the time. And then we didn't hear about it for a couple of years, and everybody was like, okay, so where is Metal Gear Solid Revengeance? Because that was the first name. And apparently, Kojima then revealed that they weren't able to crack the gameplay because I believe that they were trying to steer it more into like a stealth / action thing. And those are kind of, I mean, it's not impossible to do, but it's kind of a very delicate balance or delicate needle to thread,
Yeah.
And then Platinum Games at the time were the people who saved this game. If it weren't for Platinum Games, this game would have never seen the light of day. And at the time, like them being the saviors, not only to this game, but to Kojima, was a big thing. At least to me at the time, I was like, wow, these people are really, really talented if they were able to just take this that even Kojima couldn't do. And when you think about it, it makes sense because Kojima is not an expert in like this kind of action. And even when he has tried to do that in Metal Gear games, like in Metal Gear Solid 2, at the end when you get the sword, it's always very weird. Like you can tell that's not their playing field or their main thing. So this was very, very big. Like it or not, they saved this game. So we can.
I was
definitely
just thinking about Death Stranding and all the weird gameplay things like Kojima. It's even for more. I really admire that guy. He's not that good, and I'm sorry. I don't care. You can hate me about it, but he's not that good at making engaging gameplay. Kind of, you know.
no.
I do find it on Metal Gear 5 and in Metal Gear 4 it was nice, but there was always something weird in those games. There was something. It's like what is the name of Shadow of the Colossus? The guy who made Shadow of the Colossus.
Fumito Ueda.
It's like weird design choices that for me there's missing something. Like something is missing for me to click and be like a engaging type of gameplay. Even though I do love Metal Gear Solid, pretty much all the games that I play, there's always something weird with those games. And yeah, I think that's shown when Platinum Games took Metal Gear. Like it's such a fluid, perfect. And I think that was the time of the hack and slash. Like I think hack and slash, that genre was really big around the time, the 2010s, and they really mastered it and perfection. That game it's platinum. It's platinum. It's gold, and then
Yeah,
you have platinum.
peak.
It's platinum. It's peak.
It's
Peak
peak
hack and
platinum.
slash. Exactly.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely, 100%.
yeah,
It's very, very fun and also very, very short. I think you can, like, there are speedruns probably like it's like 10 minutes, but you can kind of beat that game in 5 to 6 hours probably.
yeah.
So yeah,
If you take the
it's
time, be normal. Yeah, which is
Exactly.
nowadays that will be probably a 0 out of 10, just because it's 5 hours instead of yo, you're charging me €60 for a 5 hour game. Oh my god. Oh, jeez, okay. Everybody wants 150 hours of like feeling, but whatever.
We're gonna get to that because I want to have a second conversation about open world. Although I don't want to have it until I have at least played a good chunk of Elden Ring. Because I want to have that reference in my head.
Which is a masterclass in open world, but we will get to that.
We will get to that.
later.
Of course, we will. So after Metal Gear Rising, we have the wonderful 101. This was a very big game when it came out. I mean, very big. I'm probably exaggerating. I just remember that everybody who played it loved it. I never did because the art style didn't really catch me. It has these kind of like Pikmin esque thing where maybe I'm getting it wrong, but this was just like the thing that it inspired to me when I was watching videos and stuff.
Hmm.
It seems like it's kind of like these games where you control a swarm of little things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that thing, for some reason, in my brain is just like, I don't really like gravitate towards it. But people liked it. I think that the fact that it was one of the few Wii U games that were not only exclusive to Wii U but
Hmm.
available on the Wii U.
Yeah.
I think that has something to do with it. But I
Yeah.
haven't played it, so I won't really speak out of turn. Then we have Bayonetta 2, which the in Bayonetta 2 is a little bit interesting because, as you know, Bayonetta 1 came to everything. It came to
Hmm.
Xbox 360 at the time. That's where I played it. PS3, I believe also, yeah, Wii U, blah blah blah. But then, for some reason, the only so who I don't really know the specifics, but it was Nintendo who kind of brought that back, and then the sequel I think is only available on the Switch. Let me just check that really quick because that would be make me look really foolish. So here it says, yeah, only Nintendo Switch and Wii U, and that is an amazing game. That is like one of the best Switch games slash Wii U games that you could play because Bayonetta is just. I mean, I know someone that was pretty put off by the fact that it's so girly and the music and the
Hmm.
fan and then all that. And to me, that's just so fun and so unique to the game. And
Oh, that's
Bayonetta
weird. Okay.
has like a yeah.
Yeah, no, because for me, I honestly didn't play any Bayonetta. I think I played the first one, not even to completion. And but if I can compare, like the music for some reason reminds me, or Persona 5 music reminds me of Bayonetta music for some reason. I don't know if it's 100% correct. Maybe I have a different, or like after all these years, everything has been like, shh. But yeah, I remember like it has like that really sassy type of like attitude music that it was. I mean, it's Bayonetta. Like she is, her whole persona is being what she is, like super sassy, super. I don't want to
Badass,
use
yeah.
the word strong woman because I don't want to get into that side, but yeah, that's actually for the conversation. Like, there's no woman characters in video games. Like, yeah, you have Bayonetta, which is like, come on, it's the coolest of them all. Like,
Yeah, she's awesome.
she's like the female hack. She's like a female Kratos, if you put it that way. You know?
Yeah, well, before Kratos, the last Kratos, I would say that she's even better than Kratos, but now Kratos has a little bit more depth, so that kind of
True. Yeah.
it's a little bit of a fight. But yeah,
True.
I agree with you. Like she's a total badass. She has, I mean, she's not on the plane where she doesn't get faced by any challenge. Like she still gets challenged, which is something you want for a character for the conflict to be interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
also she takes it on, and she has one of these attitudes that I love, where it's like, how a lot of people have issues with sexualized characters in
Yeah.
games, especially with women characters. But
Yeah.
it happens with men too. But in her case, she kind of uses it as like a strength. Like
Yeah.
to her, she's like she uses it in an empowering way, and I love that because it's kind of a very cool twist
Yeah.
to the typical Japanese fan servicey kind of like
Yeah.
showing boobies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing that I always love about that
Yeah,
character.
and it's not that far from real life. I mean, I'm not a woman, obviously. I'm too ugly to be one, but like, yeah, that's why women love to use like tight clothes or like high heels and stuff. It's to like for them to feel. They don't do it for men. They don't do it for others. They do it for themselves to feel powerful, to feel sexy, to feel like strong. And then I think that's something Bayonetta brings up, which is incredible. And I don't think any other female character has take that. It's a really, really thin line, I think,
Yeah,
to walk without being, because then people nowadays probably will not pass. I don't think it will pass nowadays having a design character as Bayonetta. That's why let's see what happens with Bayonetta 3 and how everybody's going to be outraged by it. But yeah, I don't, it's a really thin, or like a really, yeah, it's a really thin thread to walk. Let's call it that way. Because yeah, when it passed from being actually empowering and cool, or being just a woman who uses her hair as a suit that sometimes it's kind of like what, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You either let's put it like this: you either die a Bayonetta or live long enough to become dead or alive. That's sort of how it
damn.
goes.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Damn, Dead or Alive. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to Platinum. So after Bayonetta 2, this is when things kind of start to get a little weird because up until now we've only spoken about positive things.
Yeah.
Even though, as I said, Anarchy Reigns, I'm not really sure how well that did, but whatever. So here is where they start working with Activision. So maybe Activision is the one that ruined them. No, I'm just kidding.
Wouldn't surprise me. No.
So they did The Legend of Korra, which is widely considered. Let me just check the reviews for this one because I don't have any idea about anything regarding this game. This one is considered to be bad, I believe. So I'm seeing like 6.5, 4.2, 63, 5. So yeah, this is a bad game, probably.
Okay.
Um,
Well, it's again from like it's not a video, it's not a movie video game, but it's a video game based on an animation, which is the Legend of Korra, which is it's not the spin-off, but it's a continuation of Avatar, the last Airbender.
correct.
So yeah, again, I don't know. It's that I don't know if it will drop into the feel of like, yeah, it's a video game. What, how you call it? Like a video game movie? No, like a video
Like
game
a
made out of a movie.
like a
That
licensed product, yeah.
like a licensed product. That's the word. So yeah, maybe that's the thing. I don't know. For some reason, a lot of licensed products are terrible. Which
Yeah.
that will be pretty interesting to investigate why. I don't know, but
That,
let's not get into that pit hole because it's gonna be another whole conversation. But
you know what?
hey,
I'm gonna write that down because I would love to like explore that with you guys
yeah,
because I don't really understand why that happens either. Like,
yeah, they're good ones, but
yeah,
honestly I think there's worse than, like, yeah, the majority are terrible, to be honest. I mean,
okay.
Super Nintendo had a couple. Yeah, whatever. Let's go back because now I'm going back into my Super Nintendo era, which I played pretty fun ones, especially Disney ones that were really good. But yeah,
Oh my god, like Aladdin, I played that game like
Aladdin,
100 times.
Lion King. I even played one, Goofy and Max, where they were like pirates doing something as pirates, which was great. Like
The Mickey magical whatever where you get like
yeah,
powers.
yeah, that was yeah.
Awesome.
Even the Star Wars ones were amazing back then. Like the yeah, Super Star Wars. I don't know how that was called. That you were like, it's one of the hardest games in history, actually, apparently. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, let's continue with Platinum games because we get too excited here.
So then, still with Activision, they did Transformers Devastation. I don't really know why I didn't play this one because I played all the other Activision Transformer games that High Moon Studios made, and I loved most of them. This one is also somewhat beloved, although I'm seeing here that the scores weren't really that great either. So it's like 6.5, 8, 7. I mean, it's not bad. It's not on the level of Legend of Korra, but it's still not like Bayonetta,
Hmm. Yeah.
right, Metal Gear Rising levels
Yeah.
either. So yeah, we're starting to see them like flail a little bit.
Hmm.
Then there's Star Fox Zero. So this is also a bad example of their work. This time I think for the second time, because we already mentioned that they worked with Nintendo for Bayonetta 2. They work with Nintendo for Star Fox. This is something that's kind of funny. I feel kind of bad bringing it up, but I've heard it in like Sacred Symbols podcast and also their Xbox podcast, which is called Defining Duke, where they say, and they're kind of right. They said like, how can you make a bad Star Fox game? That is pretty valid because I mean Star Fox gameplay is very basic. I mean it's cool, but it's basic. So
Yeah.
making a bad one is kind of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I completely agree. I think I haven't played any other Starship type of game that was as good as the last one was Chorus,
Mm.
which for me is actually like those people love Star Fox 64, and then they make this game, and it's great. Like that, this game Chorus should be about a fox in the stars. That's how I put it. Like if that had like a Star Fox there, and not on Nintendo, that would be great.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I haven't played this game either. I think that because of its bad reception, I was telling you before we started this recording. You know how we've seen that they ported everything that was in the Wii U back to Switch?
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't think that they're going to port this one. I think that they're going to go first for the Zelda remasters that were really, really good, like for example Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, before they even think about this one. That's just my
I didn't even knew this
opinion.
game existed, to be honest. And I was a big, big, big Star Fox fan as a kid. I played Star Fox in the Super Nintendo. I even played Star Fox 2, which I think never came out to the West. And I played
It
it
came out, so it never came out. I don't think it came out in Japan either, but it did come out in the Super
oh,
Nintendo Mini. Remember
in the
the one that
mini,
came out?
and they put it on the that thing that you used to pay, like the Nintendo online
Oh
plan.
yeah, they did. They did
So that's how I played it. Which, yeah, okay, it was rough, but still was really good. And in Star Fox 64, which is,
the best one.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, it's my top three Nintendo 64 games. The first one being Zelda Ocarina of Time, then Majora's Mask, then probably Star Fox 64, and even a GameCube one, which you were like fighting dinosaurs or whatever.
yeah. Star Wars,
And it was pretty fun.
Star Fox Adventures. I love that game. I
Yeah, it
loved.
was it was pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed that game. It was pretty bizarre. It's like a fever dream going on in that game the whole time,
Yeah.
but I really enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, imagine that. Star Fox Zero.
How can we forget Tricky the Triceratops?
Ah, fucking hell. And the over
So after
sexualized
that,
princess.
they also did a one that's called Star Fox Guard. This was like a companion game. Like it was like a smaller kind of like maybe strategy sort of game. It was
Okay.
really weird. I think people liked it, but I don't think anybody really cared much about it, to be honest. So after that, they did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan. This one apparently is also pretty bad. Let me see how it scored just to get a little reference here. So it's got like a 4.9, 4, 6, 4.5. Metacritic says is like it goes from 55 to 44. So yeah, bad, pretty bad.
Hmm.
Um, this is again, I mean, I'm a big fan of like the Super Nintendo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
Hmm.
I believe I had this one in my list, like looking forward to it, because when you read Platinum Games, when you read TMNT, it's like what could go wrong?
Yeah.
And I believe that maybe similar to Star Fox Zero, making a bad Ninja Turtles game is like what? Why you had everything
Yeah.
in your
And it's
favor?
beat 'em up. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a game developer, but like, come on, you have so much past content that you can take inspiration from, and like doing something cool that, yeah, it's pretty hard to ruin I think a teenage. God, that's hard to say in English.
yeah.
Ninja Turtles. Let's call it Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I cannot say the whole name. I'm not gonna.
That's why I went with TMNT because that you can't go
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
with the letters.
Ninja Turtles. That's it. Oh, well,
Exactly. After this comes, I believe, maybe the biggest game they've made,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, which is Nier Automata.
Yeah.
This is regarded by many as a masterpiece, one of the best games, maybe ever. Um, and yeah, I mean, they deserve all the praise because the gameplay is super solid. I believe that on the narrative aspect, that the credit goes to Yoko Taro more than anybody. I wouldn't
Yeah.
really. I mean, of course, there had to have been maybe writers or secondary writers or whatever from
Mm.
Platinum here, but this like Nier is Yoko Taro's baby, and I wouldn't really attribute the story more to anybody more than him. I don't know if you feel the same as I, but
Yeah, no, I think that's a Yoko Taro game with a gameplay that works, which was made by Platinum. So yeah, it's from its yeah Yoko Taro game with the gameplay of Platinum. That's how we see the game. Like everything that was not gameplay was done by Yoko Taro. That,
exactly.
so yeah, and yeah, it's I think the best game they have ever put out. Like honestly, I think that game actually gave Yoko Taro like it was like a redemption arc for Yoko Taro having that game out and being so successful. Nobody believed that game was it was going to be that successful. That game was almost canceled because Yoko Taro didn't want to wake up early to go to work on the game. So it's a game that came out after a lot of issues. And yeah, Yoko Taro is a really particular person, a genius, but it's still yeah, every genius is really weird and really particular. But yeah, I mean that's how it shines what they can do, and that's it's. This is one of the things that made so impressive that the studio is so weird because when they're good, they're super good, but when they're bad, they're terrible. And it's I think this is the biggest example that you can have. Like Nier Automata is a game that's probably gonna pass on time, like a peak gaming moment, like a peak game, one of those games that people always gonna remember and always gonna go back to it, and it's crazy. Like it's the same as Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta, it's a staple on video games. It's a character that it's recognizable, and and the same as 2B now with Nier Automata, and it's so weird. Like now that I'm thinking about it, it's I don't understand. I don't understand what happened in that studio. I don't know what is the problem. It's like it is money related. It's I don't know. It's pretty
You
interesting. Like
know, I think I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. I'm gonna save it for the end when we cover all the games, because I think that, yeah, I think I have a theory to what
okay,
happens
a
here.
video game theory.
A video game theory by yours truly. So next comes the game. Well, before I move on to Astral Chain, which is another great game that we've already spoken about, that they did for Nintendo
Mm.
exclusively. That game hasn't come out anywhere else. There aren't any plans for a sequel, although I would love that. I would really, really love that. In between this, the project called Scalebound gets canceled. So this was a Microsoft published project that they were developing that looked very, very interesting. I'm not going to say awesome, because I remember seeing videos of it, and sometimes I thought it looked cool. Excuse me. And sometimes I thought it looked really weird, like in terms of like maybe graphically or gameplay wise. This was like a game where you rode dragons, and I'm not sure if it was technically open world, but this game was not only, that's Bellota snoring, by the way. So this game was
Disagree.
this game was very anticipated, not only for Platinum Games fans, but also for Xbox fans, because as we know, the Xbox One was the low point in Xbox's history. I think. I mean that has probably not probably that's definitely been the worst time that they've had in from when they released the Xbox, the first one Xbox. And so having this exclusive that looks so interesting, from a very like good developer, the fact that it got canceled was looked upon by many as like a failure on both Microsoft and Platinum Games part, and which is probably what happened. I mean, when you cancel a game like this, that I'm imagining that there were already millions of dollars invested, a lot of time, and blah blah blah. Like canceling a game like that is no small thing. Like a lot of the decisions have to be made, and I think we will talk about scale down a little bit more later, because they come into play very, very recently. So that's the thing. So as I said, Astral Chain, we already talked about it. 2019, it comes out. I think it was pretty much regarded unanimously as a good game, if not great. Then I think that this is when they go independent, which is also something really interesting about them. So up until now, they've worked with, I mean, they're kind of independent, quote unquote, but they always publish through someone else, whether it be Nintendo, Konami, Activision, Square Enix, blah, blah, blah. So here's where they decide to go independent. They announced the Wonderful 101 again, like the remaster version for PS4 and maybe Xbox, I think. Well, whatever. Like that generation of games.
Yep.
And they kickstarted. So that was like their first foray into self-publishing. Sorry. After that, they have World of Demons. I don't really know anything about this game. Oh, it's like a mobile game, I think. Yeah,
It's like for Apple Arcade, I think.
Okay. Which, I don't really have anything to say about mobile gaming. Not bad or good. I just don't have a clue. Then they release in this same year, I believe that was like last month or so, Sol Cresta, which is like a old school, like a shooter game, like a, what's the word? Like a,
Like
not
a bullet hell, no?
like a bullet hell game. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And here it says that they published it themselves, although it has Like it says developed by Platinum and co-published by Hamster. I don't know what that is, and then Platinum Games. So it's them, doing this independent thing. Apparently with help from Hamster. I don't really know who that is again. And then so this already gets us to present day. So 2022, we know they're developing Bayonetta 3, which we only saw like one video last year in a direct. It had been announced back in 2017 maybe, and we hadn't seen anything about it, which was very suspicious. Like it's like that game is already entering what they call development hell, which is when
Development hell.
which
Yeah.
is where you're like, okay, what's happening here? We don't really know if it's gonna come out this year. Probably not, because they're deep in their latest game, which you already mentioned, Babylon's Fall. This has to be, at least reception-wise, the worst thing they've ever done. Like this game is being criticized. This game is being criticized on the gameplay front, on the graphical front, on the live service front. Like I've talked a little bit with you and with Carlos, who is a big Platinum fan as well, and he says he's a big fan of the gameplay, like the combat mostly, and I believe him. I don't think that that's the consensus either. Like I don't know if you could speak a little bit more about your experience with the demo. I haven't played it at all, so
Yeah, no, I played the demo, the full demo, which I think lets you run, I think, through the first two or three biomes that exist on the game, or like the first three stages. You even fight like a big boss at one point, and then you fight other, like, let's call mini bosses, and they're kind of like, it's a game. It's like the game is pretty much Monster Hunter in the fact that you have a hub world, and then you do everything in that hub, and then you go into missions. You can go alone, you can go with a recruit party from your friends or from the people who are around there in the same hub. You get the notification like, hey, this person is launching a mission, do you want to join? And then you join. And honestly, I I was, after playing them, I was expecting the bad reviews. I was not expecting reviews this harsh and this bad. Um, yeah, I mean, graphically, I can see that the game is lacking. Uh, it is really weird because I remember this game was shown in a presentation a couple of years or even last year as a single player type of game, which looks completely different to what they shown now, or like what the game is right now. So I don't know
that
what. Mhm.
I believe that was in 2019 or something like
Okay.
that. And the first time I saw this game, I put it immediately on my list because it was like a single player, Platinum Games developed. The combat looked amazing, and I was like, okay, I don't really need to see anything else from this game because I know these people. I know I like what I see. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Then they announced that they were gonna shift it to like a service thing, and that's when I said, hold on, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
Because live service games are not like my thing. And I saw a video there that looked kind of weird. It had a
Yeah.
very weird music. I remember the music got like stamped on my brain because it was like a very aggressive opera, like and I was like, why? Like, oh, whatever. And then the game comes out. It looks like a PS3 game, from things I've seen.
Yeah.
And what you're saying. I mean, did you want to say something? I think I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, no. The thing is, like, the game is not broken. Like that's one thing. Like the game is, or at least what I played before the release, it was not buggy. It was not like there was nothing broken. Everything works pretty fine. The voice acting in English was terrible, but in Japanese was pretty good. Of course, like that thing happens quite a lot in this
Yeah.
type of like translations from Japanese. And the combat, which is the main part, like I didn't thought it was bad, but it was not platinum level.
Okay.
There's a lot of things you can do, and I was under the impression like, okay, this is the demo, this is the first like type of gear that you're gonna get. You're not gonna get like the most flashy or crazy attacks or crazy combos you can make still. Like, that will come probably farther or after you finish the story, and then as a good live service game, you will get into the end game, which is when the whole actual content it's thrown at you with raids or missions or whatever that are higher level. So yeah, I didn't thought it was terrible. I was okay. It's a demo. It's pretty basic. It was enjoyable. To be honest, I played through the demo. I think it was around 5 6 hours, and I played completely, and I didn't even realize that I was playing for 6 hours. I was like pretty not engaged because I didn't care about the story. For it's a really weird story. Like I don't like. Yeah, I don't care. And especially on demos, I don't tend to care about the story or anything else more than the gameplay aspect of the thing. So in that fact, I was kind of like, okay, I can overlook the graphical fidelity of the game, or like the graphics that they were shown. They did look a bit of like uh, Dragon Age Inquisition when you play the PS3 version instead of the PS4 version. So that was kind of bringing some PTSD to my head. But yeah, apart from that, I did enjoy it. And but yeah, it's sad to see. Of course, I don't know how. That's the thing. I don't know out of these reviews how much time people have put into it. I don't know. That's the weird thing about reviews. So I don't know. I don't know if somebody already reached the end game. I don't even know if the game has an end game. I don't know if the what's going on. So these reviews come out of something which I hope they're a bit that something is other than the graphics, because in the end graphics don't make a game. The gameplay. What's this? I did notice like if this is gonna be the whole game, but with just like a bigger sword or like a flashier armor, but it's the same core concept, it's gonna get old pretty fast. And apparently that's is what it is. So then it feels like that's an incomplete game, which maybe it is, because as you say, like that game was being developed as something completely different and suddenly was put on hold or got back to like scratch and then start building the game again in like a year and a half 2 years into a live service because Square yeah, because
Square
Square
Enix.
Enix
Yeah.
wanted more money, or because Square Enix wanted to try, even though they failed with Avengers, wanted to try a new type of see if like the Japanese or like the people who are more keen to Japanese style games will they can throw money at it. But I don't know. I don't know who to blame there. I don't want to blame Platinum Games, even though they do have some blame on it. But yeah, it's kind of bizarre what happened. Like the story of this game, like it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know who to blame, but yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean all we can do is speculate, but I do think it's interesting to kind of like line up the cards and make our assumptions based on that, other than just make it
yeah.
up.
The story
But
will be different if this game were free to play. I think if this game was free to play, probably it will have better reviews. The thing is, like, it's not. It's a full price, €70 or $60 price game, and I will say even put it at double A type of pricing, like €30 will be still maybe will have better reviews. But yeah, this game should have been 100% free to play, and wouldn't surprise me that at some point it's gonna go free to play, because now right now they're asking for feedback. I think Platinum Game put out a tweet, a Twitter,
a survey, yeah,
a survey to the player base, which is kind of small, sadly, to like,
very
hey,
small.
it's really, I think it's one of the smallest one for a recent release game. I think it peaked at 1,000 people or something like that. I don't know. I need
It
to
has
see
like
the
an average, I believe, of like 400 concurrent players on Steam, which is
which is
crazily small.
it's do you see that with really small games, like really niche or indie games, that you can see that type of thing. And yeah, they honestly look like they want to work on it, but again, like you have a other plate on the oven, which is Bayonetta, which we don't know. You have an upcoming project that is not being disclosed yet, like they're working on a project GG or something that it's supposedly that's the name.
Mhm.
So, do you really have the resources? Do you really have the time? Is Square Enix willing to put money on this after having failed? Because we know publishers are assholes sometimes, and they messed up a game. Yeah, that's. I don't think there's any other words. Like, they make the game shitty because they make the decisions and they push that decisions to the developers. Then the game comes out, the game flops, and then they say, it sucks. I'm not gonna. It's not worth the money. Buy. So is Square Enix willing to put the money into it? Like, And it's weird because even the this game has like a battle pass season. It's gonna have like the whole seasons type of how you call like the monetary plan. How you call it like the
Model.
yeah the financial model of the game is like having seasons like any other live service. And the first season it's Inspire is gonna have some things from Near Automata. So they're trying to capture the people that really love Near. So it's kind of scummy but weird, but it kind of works. But no, so it is pretty weird. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It's strange, and like you said, I think that Square Enix, they have this hunger for a live service game that gives them the dividends that maybe Apex brings or Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite is like the biggest example, no, but like they want their Fortnite. They want that, and they already tried it with the biggest IP in the world, which is Marvel. They tried it with the Avengers, and they failed. And I think that they tried a second time with a very different sort of game, more Japanese style, with this one with Babylon's Fall. And I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't think it's going to work out for them because I mean, for
it's
a game
rough.
like this
Yeah.
to redeem itself, check out our episode on redemption arcs for games. It's hard. I mean, it's not impossible because there is talent involved and everything like that. But when you line that up with other things that we haven't discussed yet, which, for example, in recent interviews and things like that, uh, Platinum Games. Let me just get the name of whoever said this because I want to have the name. Um, Give me 1 second. So in a recent interview with IGN Japan, apparently, so so Platinum Games heads Atsushi Inawa and Hideki Kamiya revealed that they would love to revive Scalebound, which is the game that I just talked about, if Microsoft is up for it. And then a couple of maybe weeks later or something like that, they discussed even being acquired. Let me look for that as well because I don't want to get it wrong, you know? Platinum Games acquired. Yeah, it says Platinum's CEO says he wouldn't dismiss acquisition offers as long as our freedom is respected. Okay, yeah, I think this is sort of what you were talking about before. But I like it is true that they're saying our freedom is respected, and that of course makes sense. But the fact that they're saying it in the first place is already like a sign, you know?
Yeah, it may
It's,
be a sign. Maybe that's what happened with Babylon Falls. Maybe they felt pressure for by Square Enix to do something that they really didn't want to make.
I
Uh,
think that's exactly what happened, especially when you see the first trailer versus the other one. Yeah, 100.
yeah,
percent
this game looks honestly, it looks like it was rushed, and not in a way because a lot of live service games tend to be shit when they come out, Destiny included, and
Mm-hmm.
them, etc. There's a bunch of games that always like they're lacking content, they're lacking everything, and this game actually is pretty stable, pretty like the multiplayer, even the demo was perfect, no issues, like everything worked, everything is there. It's just like the game feels soulless. I think that's the main thing. It's like it's just like a game that was made.
Mm.
And yeah, compared to the trailer that we saw 2 years 3 years ago, like that's a completely different, like that game looked amazing, like you were like skating on your sword doing weird shit, Devil May Cry type of combat, like really flashy insanity, and suddenly this is like, so yeah, maybe I think that commentary maybe had a bit of like a backhand meaning there, like a backhand intention of like, hey, yeah, we are not, we need the money, but we don't want to compromise again and keep pushing out shitty games because yeah, it looks like, honestly, if you look at their peak games, I do feel that those games are the ones that they had some type of freedom to work on what they wanted to do, and those games succeeded, and those games are amazing. Sadly, it seems they are a studio that they cannot really stand on their own, or that this is really hard for them to stand on their own. And that's the one, then you need to say yes and like bend your head down to the publisher, like, okay, no, but we want to make this with this IP, and blah blah blah, and then you turn out with a shitty game. So yeah, I mean, it is insane for a game with a studio with so much talent on it. It is not normal that they have put out that many dubious, like, average games. It is. I mean, we're talking about people who work in Resident Evil, people who work in Devil May Cry, people who has years of experience. So yeah, I don't know. Look at it. The Platinum Games could be a From Software. Like
Yeah.
they could be that type of people. Like they have put out too many games too. Like it's obvious. Like, and even mobile games, it's obvious that they need money and they have to do those type of things. At least that's how I see as an outsider. I don't know. Maybe they're like swimming in money. I don't know, but yeah, I think this is the main issue with Platinum. Like, hey, we just need somebody buy us, and please, after Microsoft are the ones saying like we want to give all the freedom to or studios to do whatever the fuck they want. Hey, maybe they are kind of like signaling Microsoft like, hey, buy us, and hey, maybe this is a entry point of Microsoft to the Asian market, like, or at least a more heavy entrance into the Asian market will be great. But I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so I think that the move of them going independent was more that they could handle. They kind of bit more than they could chew over there. I mean, there's still, I mean, not everything they're doing now is independent, of course. I mean, they're working with Square, they're working with Nintendo, with Bayonetta 3. But even though they still are the are so ideally, I think ideally for them, going independent was like the answer to their problems, right?
Hmm.
Because you don't go independent just to go independent. I mean, you do that because you want to like build something and you want to like ultimately be 100% independent, like what Bungie did, which is kind of a little bit confusing why they went into Sony, but I mean that's another topic. But so they, I think that the Platinum Games is like the other side of the coin, like Bungie. So Bungie went independent and they started to do really well. The game maybe had some minor issues here and there with like monetization and stuff like that, but like Destiny has not gone down in both popularity
Hmm.
or quality. I
No.
think that they've only gone up, and apparently Witch Queen is like the epitome of that. And Witch Queen was developed 99% while they were independent. Like that's not a
Hmm.
Sony
Yeah,
consequence,
that's
right?
not
No,
Sony. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So that's like the best case scenario, the Bungie scenario, and then you have the Platinum scenario, which is you go independent. You still have these projects that you have to fulfill with all these publishers, which in this case it was like Babylon's Fall, Bayonetta, and you failed Babylon's Fall. You're kind of failing Bayonetta 3 too, because the fact that we haven't heard about it can't be good news at all. You're, I mean, I'm not really sure how well Sol Cresta did, but I'm betting it's not too well.
And it's a really niche type of game too.
It's a really niche type game. It's exactly that was never gonna be like a banger. I don't think so. I don't really believe that they had those expectations either. So I just think that they bit off more than they could chew. The fact that they're speaking like this publicly regarding Microsoft or any type of acquisition, I think it's a cry for help. Unfortunately, it's funny that the ones who don't cry for help, Bungie, get acquired, but then these guys are all there by themselves. I do believe that they're gonna get acquired. I hope it's not a company like Tencent or NetEase or these companies. I do hope it's I mean I don't think Sony has any interest in such a studio. But
Yeah.
my ending point is I do believe that they're gonna get acquired, and I do believe that it will benefit them because they have proved that independence is probably not for them. Independence is probably not in the cards for them. They like I think that most of the successes that they've had, there's always been somebody else guiding them through it a little bit. We talked a little bit about Nier Automata. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's Yoko Taro's credits that make the game great. That's not really accurate. Like, I played Nier the first one in PS3, and that game has horrible gameplay. In so much that I even considered not playing Replicant because that was so bad. And I ended up playing it and loving it, blah blah blah. But that's another issue. So here they worked with Yoko Taro, and kind of like they are masters at gameplay. They are masters at combat. When you go outside of that, like think of Revengeance. Probably they had a big Kojima sitting on their shoulder every time like they were developing all that. So I just think that they are talented, but they need help. That's it.
I think it's proof with Astral Chain, which is a fantastic game, but the story could be not there, and I will be fine with it. Like I will be like, yeah, cool. If Babylon Falls were like what Astral Chain is, I wouldn't have any problem buying the game. To be honest, like, oh yeah, it's a live service, but at least it's with like the level of Astral Chain. That's great. Like I don't care about the stories, whatever. But so yeah, they need somebody. They need, but which is insane because again, these people, or at least the leads of Platinum Games, work in massive games. So they're like part of the people who brought to life Resident Evil and Devil May Cry and all these big franchises. So it's kind of insane that they need somebody. Maybe they need to hire good writers. Maybe that's the whole thing they need. Like, and they haven't found, or they really don't know. Hey, you can be really good fighting, but you are not a martial artist. That I don't know if that's a good analogy, but it's the way you can be really good at developing a system or gameplay, but then you're lacking with everything else around the game. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the issue here. And yeah, I agree with what you say. I hope if they get bought, I don't think they will get bought by any of these massive Chinese corporation type of companies, because, well, I mean, we don't know their finances, we don't know how much they're struggling or not. So, but for what the president said, like the CEO said, I don't think they're looking into that, because we know that they will not have any type of freedom going into any of these companies. It will be like being acquired by Activision, or being acquired by, well, Activision is not really now, but like as an example, like EA or something. Like, you're gonna have a really strong hand with money, like guiding you what you need to do. So yeah, I mean, I do think Microsoft will be, even though I am against Microsoft still keep buying people, like it will be one of the best people to acquire them, honestly. Like, because Sony, even though that will be great, and I think that will be a fantastic match, for some reason Sony hates their Asian and Japanese market for some reason nowadays. I don't understand why. So I don't see that happening with Platinum Games.
Well,
But yeah,
they did have. I mean, I agree with you generally. That they have like forlorn. Maybe it's a very strong word. Forsaken. They've forsaken their Japanese like origins, because they kind of closed Team Japan and Japan Studio and stuff like that. But recently, to their credit, they did have a state of play which is like 100%, well, not 100%,
sure.
but mostly Japanese games. So
Yeah, sure. They have
that was,
Capcom, no, Economy, Capcom game. The
yeah,
new Dino Crisis, which is not Dino Crisis, but it's like Dino Crisis merged with Advent, which is kind of weird. But
that was so weird.
yeah,
That was so weird. But yeah, I you know what? I do think, now that we're talking about this, just to end the topic, because I think we've already exhausted it. It would be cool for Microsoft to be the one to get them, only because of the reason that there's the possibility that they would say, okay, guys, come over here, revive Scalebound, do it right, and then if they like that would be a cool, like, we fucked up, but then we're gonna come back with a bang, and this bang is gonna be this game that a lot of people were expecting, and that it was canceled, and that everybody was like, no. So that, to me, that would be a really cool story, you know?
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen if they are really like what you say about this news that they're in conversations, like about reviving Scalebound. Maybe there's a check coming from Microsoft to work on that game. Maybe that's that project GG that they're working on. We don't know. All of these things happens as soon. Like it's like Microsoft buying Activision. That's a thing that doesn't happen from one week to another. That's a thing that has like years or months cooking up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe they put out this game with Microsoft money. Scalebound is the thing that brings is their new Near Automata, for example. And after that, then Microsoft comes out and say, "Hey, we're gonna buy this game, and we're gonna buy these guys, and we're gonna give them 100 million check, and they can do whatever they want. And you know what? We're gonna put some people from Obsidian to write the story for the game, or something like that. It will be great. No, but who knows?
Yeah,
But
something
yeah,
like that.
that will be great. I mean, I hope honestly that this happens because this will be a. If this studio fails, it will be a really sad story.
Yeah.
Seeing Platinum Games dead, because yeah, I mean, of course, the people who work there are not gonna die, but whatever Platinum Games represents is gonna be lost. And yeah, I wouldn't like that to happen because it's one of the last like medium size or big size studios standing on its own in the world. So it will be, yeah, it will be sad seeing them disappear. And I hope they don't. And I hope Babylon's Fall is not the nail on the coffin that takes them out. Hopefully not. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. So now we go to the part of the show where we talk about what we've been playing. I know that there aren't many like new things. Like you've been playing Elden Ring almost exclusively.
yeah. I mean, Elden
Is there
Ring
anything
and Gran
else?
Turismo.
Oh, good.
Gran Turismo is my unwind time. It's like my time to like chill out and just look at nice cars and drive and be stressed because there's too many rules in that game. But that's Gran Turismo all the time. But yeah, I'm finishing Elden Ring. I think I will finish the game this week. I don't know if I'm gonna jump straight away into a new game plus because I think I have done everything that you can do on that game so far. Like I'm cleaning everything. Yeah, I think I'm gonna platinum the game because I don't really care about platinums, but for some reason I feel good about platinum from software games. So
And
yeah,
also it's good for the topic that we were just talking about.
which was
Platinum.
platinum
Platinum
games. Yeah,
games.
that's my yeah. Look at that. So yeah, hopefully I will finish. And yeah, I just bought a shit ton more of games, which they're all gonna go into my backlog. And let's see if I don't finish Elden Ring. No, if I finish Elden Ring this week, let's see what I will bring next week. It's weird. I don't know. There's quite maybe Near Replicant actually will be the game that I'm gonna be start playing after Elden Ring. I don't know. Maybe that. Maybe another Jokotaro game, Voice of Cards. Who knows? Maybe Devil May Cry 5. We don't know.
Nice. Those are all great choices. So I have been playing Horizon. I finished it already. Yesterday yesterday night, maybe. Yeah, exactly. And it was cool. I loved the game. I spent about 100 hours on it, probably a little less. And I thought it was a great game. I think it improves itself from the second one in every single way. And when I mean every single way, I don't just mean like graphically or whatever. Like the combat is really, really, really good this time. In the other one, I do think it was cool as well. But as I've said repeatedly, combat with other humans was so boring. Here, it's pretty cool. You have combos, you have everything. The crafting, the quests are really well done. I mean, I know that when I say that, you think of the ones in Elden Ring, which I haven't experienced, and you always say like, ugh. But these quests are mostly, and when I say mostly, I mean 95% interesting.
Yeah, they're different games. Like
Yes,
the fact that they
exactly.
improved from the previous one, it's already like a win for everybody. I think.
Exactly. And like I felt that what I did mattered. I felt a couple of times. I never confirmed it because I would have I would have had to like search for it. But there were times where I did optional objectives of certain missions, and then that optional objective turned into a second side quest later.
Okay,
I mean, it's not
like it's like
unheard of.
intertwined.
Yeah, exactly. And that level of detail that they had, the fact that every character you meet looks like a person that you could meet in real life. Like it's not where something that happens in every game, which is like either everybody looks like a whatever or everybody looks like a model. You know, like there's this thing where everybody has to look hot or whatever. Here, it's like it looks like normal people. Like some people are a little like there's this part of the game where you are in this in this area where people are going through hardships with food. So everybody's like skinny, but like the faces, the pores, the way they interact with you, it doesn't look Mass Effecty where it's like we got to go to
Yeah.
the collectors. You know, it looks really well. You like it gets you very immersed into the game on that front. There were a couple of instances where I found like an old lady that had the body of like a 20-year-old. That was kind of weird.
I mean, that can happen in real life too. Why not?
Eh,
Like, there's
could
people who take care of themselves. Like,
exactly it could, but it was very jarring because you know like it was very different. Like they even had like a what do you call this? Like a second chin. I don't know if second chin is the word. Is
like,
when the skin sags
like
here.
the
Yeah.
wrinkles that the old people
So,
get. Yeah, yeah.
they had skin sagging here, and then they had like a perfect abs, and it's like, come on, man. I don't know.
You can
Weird.
see like the two lines, like you see their neck, and suddenly it's like all wrinkled texture, and suddenly down here all smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Things
that's
like
shitty.
that. But in the majority, like I said, like everybody looks real, and not only because the graphics are cool, but it's because of the designs. And yeah, like in the real world, you meet people who are muscular, you meet people who are a little bit plumpier, you meet people who are skinny, and this is what you see in this game. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, I don't know if this is a game that I'm gonna remember like 5 years from now. Honestly, to me, it's like a solid. If I had to give I'm not gonna give a number because we already talked last episode about it. No, I'm not gonna give a number. But I think it's a solid game. I wouldn't say it's like a masterpiece. I don't think that because to me, like there are ways where I don't know how to explain it, but so for me to for a game to like obviously this is all subjective, right? But this game is almost perfect in every technical way. But there were I don't think I fell in love with the characters like I would have wanted to. Like I fell in love with characters by on The Last of Us, for example, or God of War. You know,
Hmm.
like what?
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel that. I thought I think Aloy is cool, but she's still a little bit like one note, maybe. Like you know, I don't know. Like there's something there that doesn't allow me to cross the threshold and be like, oh my god, you know. And
Hmm.
that's fine. I mean that's not the game's fault. It's probably my own criteria or whatever. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I understand what you mean, but yeah, I think that's the problem that I have with the game is that it's I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not a writer, but it's like the hero type of thing. Like she is. I think Christian said it. I remember if here or on some other conversation, like you are Aloy, and Aloy is gonna succeed. She's always gonna be good at what she's doing. She's the hero. She's like the chosen one, the archetype of the chosen one. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're the chosen one. Oh, you are this person. Oh, you're the person who saved us. You're the." And I think that makes really one-sided. Like as a narrative in game, I do feel that makes the game really one-sided, and it's completely out of what real life is. It's like, oh, it's like even Zelda suffer from that. Like you're the hero of time, the hero of time. But even in Zelda, you're not being constantly say that. I did notice where I play in this game that all the time, oh, you're the savior of Meridian, you're the
Meridian.
savior
Yeah.
of Meridian, you're the savior of Meridian, you're the savior, you're the savior. And yeah, Halo gets annoyed by it
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's in a narrative standpoint for me. It's a well like, oh yeah, this guy is gonna succeed. She's a hero of Meridian. She's perfect, and everything gets too one-sided, and that's at least that's what I felt with the game for the couple of well, it hasn't been a couple of hours. I think I played like 12, 13 hours of this game already before Elden Ring came out. So yeah, I kind of see what you mean, and yeah, I mean, I think probably for me will happen because if I remember Horizon, I will remember Horizon Forbidden West because it was the first one, and sorry, Horizon Zero Dawn because it was the first one more than this one. But hey, let's see. I need to play this game. I need to take
A distance, yeah.
a distance from open world stuff after Elden Ring because it's, as I said, it's going to be really hard for me to going back into open world after experiencing Elden Ring's open world. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. But yeah,
yeah, and just to top it off, the thing about uh, while you were talking, I wasn't listening. I was just thinking things,
nice.
and I was thinking like, what is it about Kratos? What is it about Joel? What is it about Ellie? Like all these characters that I do love, and I think that the answer is that they
They're
have
not perfect.
flaws.
Yeah.
Exactly, you just said it.
Mhm.
In Aloy's case, she does have a little bit more texture in this game. Like there is one specific instance that I won't spoil where she does something that I thought was very questionable. And that was the only moment in the game where I was like, wow, she really did that? Like, wow,
Mm.
like that was really cool. But other than that, she's just very much the typical hero.
Yeah, she's like, this is the issue. I can do it. I'm gonna do it because I'm me, and that can get really old really fast. I
Yeah.
feel so.
And I wouldn't say she's boring because like
No.
to me the let's say the worst case scenario of what we're talking about is a character like Rey in Star Wars, you know, like
Mm.
she has
That's
no
called.
flaws and but yeah,
There's a name for that. Actually, there's a name for that
Mary
archetype. It's
Sue,
the Mary Sue. Yeah,
Mary Sue, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So the thing about her is that she doesn't have any flaws, but she also is not interesting in any way,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Aloy doesn't have any flaws, but she's interesting. So she has that, you know, to
Yeah.
me. She's interesting because the way that she responds to certain characters, the way that she handles herself, to me, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But still, the flaws is what kind of brings it all together, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, she obviously evolved from the first game. I do feel for what I play, she's more comfortable being who she is. I guess like she knows who
yes,
she is. She has that attitude that I know who I am. I don't have time to waste in these fucking caveman people here who doesn't even understand what technology is. I don't have time in all this religious mumbo jumbo about the machine god and whatever. Like fuck off, that doesn't exist. She's a pretty damn good atheist, which is kind of funny. But yeah, but that's the thing. Like she needs something to struggle to. Like, and I think that something could be silence in some way because silence is better than everything in everything than hers apparently. So I don't know the how the story goes with silence. I don't know what happens there. Like of course, and you will not spoil it, and that's good. But maybe that's the thing. But she needs a part of having this antagonistic. Because I don't know if silence is bad in the end or not. I don't know, but he's like the antagonist, the dark Aloy, not only because he's black, but so yeah, like she needs something. She needs to make mistakes. That's the thing. Like she needs to, hey, I made this decision, and that decision has consequences. Not only save a bunch of people, but like that type of thing that made Mass Effect so good. Like yeah, I'm gonna help these people, but then if I do this, all these other people are gonna die, or I'm gonna lose one of my companions. Like I don't know if something happens with Varl or Eren. It's the name.
Aaron, yeah.
Aaron Jaeger. Yeah, I don't know if there's something like you need to choose between one and the other and stuff like that. That type of things, I think, will probably will make her, because I do feel the same as you with Aloy. That will make her into that S tier Sony protagonist type of game, and yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully in Horizon 3.
which by the way, I mean, I don't think this is a spoiler for anybody, but Horizon 3 is coming.
All right, cool.
I mean, I hope that's not a spoiler because I mean, it's kind of obvious that this franchise, which is huge and already has a
Yeah.
second game, will have a third one.
Yeah, it will come out a week before who knows what, God of War or something. Like
No,
that.
you know what? The other day in it's funny. I was listening to Sacred Symbols and they were talking about how Horizon always comes before something massive, and I thought, and then they said it. There, no, look, Horizon is gonna come out before Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay.
Mark those words, my friend,
Okay.
because when you think about the chronology, like the Horizon 1 is 2017, Horizon 2 is 2022, the third Horizon should be 2027, and that is more or less when Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. So
Okay.
watch out.
Hopefully, are we gonna still be on PlayStation 5 or are we gonna be on PlayStation 6 by then?
I don't know. We'll see.
Because that's what PlayStation 5 will be how much the time? 7 years old?
Yes. I mean, PlayStation
So
5 is 2021, right?
20, 2020.
2020? Oh, then 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know time anymore. But yeah,
Yeah,
20.
it's September 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be 7 years old. So probably will be PlayStation 6 and Xbox Series X, SS, or whatever they're gonna call it to confuse people more. So yeah. Oh man. Oh, probably will be all in Meta, and we're gonna play it everything on Meta, the Facebook VR thing, Second Life, and we're all gonna be Halo once and for all. So how
Finally.
old is gonna be Halo? Halo is gonna be like 30 something, like a 40-year-old type of. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool, but I
She
think
was 18 on the first game, I think.
I think so. But here they do mention. I mean, they don't mention specific age, but they do say like within only 2 decades of being alive, you already did blah blah blah. So they say that she's 20 something,
Okay.
22, let's say 2030.
So she's gonna be in her 30s back then, and we're gonna be in our 40s. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Let's see how we're gonna judge a younger character back then in the future.
Well, my friend, it's the end of our episode, so I hope you all at home enjoyed it. We're gonna have more to come next week, probably. I don't really know when this is coming out. It's probably gonna come out maybe 2 weeks from now, or maybe 1 week. I have to get my shit together in regards to production line because this sometimes
Do you imagine the
happens.
platinum gets bought next week, and then this episode aged terrible?
Exactly. That could happen,
Yeah.
and I will have no choice but to scrap
No, you
this
need to put it
episode.
out. Put it out. Put it out. Who cares? I say, hey, we record this 2 weeks ago. Just put a stamp. Like, do you have a calendar there or something showing the date of today? Like I have my yeah March 16. I don't know if it's gonna see mine probably March 16. Okay, and you see my text from my girlfriend. So
Screen cap that and
yeah,
blackmail John. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you liked it. Share it with your friends.
your
Comment.
family, your
Uh,
grandmas, they
have
love
some
video
food
games.
while you watch us. You know what? You could have us at the same time that you work, at the same time that you babysit your children, at the same time that you wash your clothes, at the
The
same
same
time that
time
you
you're
wash.
pooping,
True, that also works. I don't care. At the same time that you wash the dishes, do whatever it takes, but have us
walk
there.
your dogs.
Yes.
We always with you in a not creepy way, kind of.
See you next week in not a creepy way, kind of.